The wine glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the patio tiles. No one moved. Not even the toddler holding a slice of watermelon. Behind them, the cops walked in with gloves already on. "We're here for Michael Carson. Where is he?" At first, the family thought it was a prank, a joke to liven up the reunion. But the officers didn't laugh. One of them held up a sealed evidence bag inside, a knife. Blood still on the blade. The name they read aloud from the warrant wasn't just familiar. It was the same man who gave a toast just minutes earlier, welcoming everyone to the Carson estate. That man Michael stood frozen, drink in hand, staring down the barrel of the past. "We're reopening a 1996 murder case," the officer said. "And this time we've got forensics." The backyard, once filled with laughter and grilled corn, was now a crime scene. One cousin whispered, "Oh my God, what did he do?" But the real question was worse. What did they all ignore for decades? Welcome back to Crime Vault, where real crimes reveal the darkest truths. If you're new here, hit subscribe, because what's coming in this story will shake you to the core. The Carson family was local royalty, politicians, professors, landowners, a bloodline built on status, silence, and control. Every summer they returned to the same place, an estate hidden deep in the pines, 3 hours from the nearest city. There were no neighbors, no cell service, just generations of wealth and the kind of secrets that fester when no one is watching. 37 people arrived that weekend. They brought kids, laughter, old grudges sealed in polite smiles. But one name was missing from the guest list. Emma Carson, 24, Michael's niece. The last text she sent said, "Almost there. Hope they're ready for the truth." She never made it. Her car was later found on the side of Route 9. Driver door open. Engine still running. Purse on the passenger seat. Phone gone. No tire marks. No sign of a struggle. Nothing except for a smear of something reddish-brown on the trunk latch. Detectives would later confirm it. Blood. But whose? Back at the reunion, no one mentioned her absence. Not even Michael. Not even when the family posed for their traditional group photo. He stood right in the center, grinning. That night, 19-year-old Olivia Carson, Emma's cousin, noticed something strange. The spare bedroom, usually locked tight for years, had been opened. Inside, a box of old clippings. Newspapers from the 1990s. Most were faded. But one article, carefully preserved in plastic, stood out. Teen girl found dead in local quarry. Killer released on technicality. The man in the black and white photo looked hauntingly familiar. Same jawline, same eyes, same cold stare. The name was different, but Olivia knew exactly who it was. Her Uncle Michael. Emma's car was found 10 miles from the Carson estate, parked on the shoulder of a quiet road. The engine was idling. The headlights were still on, and the air freshener dangled from the rear-view mirror, swaying slightly, as if she'd just stepped out. The driver's door was wide open. No footprints, no tire tracks, just silence, and an eerie sense that something ended here. Her phone last pinged at 2:43 p.m., coordinates placed at just a few hundred feet from the Carson property. The family claimed she never arrived, but a gas station camera told a different story. At 2:07 p.m., Emma was seen at a roadside station. She bought water, gum, and filled up her tank. In the footage, she glances over her shoulder twice, nervous, watching someone. The man behind her in line? Unidentified, but he drove off in the same direction, toward the reunion. Olivia took that footage to the police, but without proof of a crime, they waited. Hours passed, then a full day. Still no Emma. That night, Olivia confronted her parents. She demanded answers about the man in the old news clipping, Michael. Her mother turned pale. Her father shut the door. "Don't dig into this," he warned. "You're safer not knowing." But Olivia didn't stop. She started recording voice notes on her phone. In one of them, she says, "If something happens to me, start with Michael, then ask why my dad is covering for him." The next morning, Olivia was gone. No note, no goodbye, no trace. And this time, no one believed it was coincidence. It started with whispers in the hallway. Olivia hadn't shown up for breakfast. Her bed was perfectly made, her suitcase untouched. But her phone? Gone. The last person to see her was her younger brother, Tyler. He said she was still awake around 2 a.m. sitting on the porch, writing something in a small leather notebook. By sunrise, she'd vanished. The family brushed it off. She probably left early, one aunt said. She does this, always chasing drama. But the tension had already shifted. People were glancing over their shoulders. Conversations died the moment Michael entered a room. That evening, 2 cousins, Jacob and Elise, overheard something behind the barn. Michael was speaking with Olivia's father, voices low, words fast, but one line stuck out. If she talks, everything falls apart. Olivia's father replied, I told you not to bring that box here. A moment of silence. Then Michael, she already saw it, she took pictures. She's not a kid anymore. That's when Jacob did something no one else had dared. He recorded them, a 37-second voice memo. Muffled, distant, but one phrase was crystal clear. You should have buried it like last time. Jacob played the recording for his older sister, Elise. She begged him not to go to the police. We don't even know what it means, she said. If they know we're listening, we'll be next. But it was too late. The next morning, Jacob was found unconscious near the edge of the woods, his phone gone, his lips bloody, and under his fingernails, dirt, like he'd been clawing his way out of something. He couldn't remember what happened, but he kept repeating one phrase, don't let them take the notebook. The sun hadn't fully risen when the cops came back. This time they didn't knock. They walked straight through the front gate, badges out, gloves on, and told everyone, no one leaves? Everyone stays where they are. Someone called it an overreaction. But the officers weren't reacting. They were following a tip. A 911 call had been placed at 3:16 a.m. The voice was shaky, young. They're hiding something in the woods, it said. Then a pause. Please, don't let them find me. The line went dead. Cadaver dogs were deployed. They searched the perimeter, weaving through the thick pine grove behind the estate, and then they stopped. Just 50 yards from the garden, one dog started pawing at the earth. The officer leaned in. Fresh dirt, the shape of something buried. Not deep, not careful. Like it had been done in a hurry. They called in forensics. Within minutes, the shovel hit fabric. A woman's body. Face bruised. Neck marked. The blood had dried, but the fear was still fresh in her expression. It was Emma. Word traveled fast. Inside the house, silence fell. Children were pulled close. And Michael Carson, who had been sitting by the fireplace with a cup of coffee, stood up without a word. He didn't run. He didn't fight. He just looked at the officers and said, You have no idea what you've started. They handcuffed him in front of everyone. Emma's mother collapsed on the floor. One of the cousins screamed. But Michael? He smiled. Not the smile of a man caught. The smile of a man who knew. He wasn't the only one involved. The forensic report didn't take long. Emma Carson had been dead for 2 days. Cause of death, blunt force trauma. The bruising around her neck suggested she fought back hard, but what shocked investigators wasn't how she died. It was who she died with. Blood traces found in the cabin behind the estate didn't just match Michael. They matched another family member, someone respected, someone married, someone who cried the loudest when her body was found. Emma's cousin Daniel Carson, a Sunday school teacher, a father of 3, a man who swore he hadn't seen Emma in months. But his fingerprints were on the inside of her car. His DNA was found under her fingernails. And on the knife, yes, that knife, his partial print overlapped with Michael's. That knife, once sealed as evidence in a decades-old cold case, had been removed from police storage 5 years ago. Signed out by a former detective who quietly retired. That detective? Daniel's father-in-law. When Daniel was brought in for questioning, he cracked within hours, but not the way police expected. He didn't deny the murder. He denied knowing it was going to happen. She found something, he said, in the attic. She showed it to me. I told Michael. That's all I did. I swear. But when pressed about Olivia, his own niece, he froze. What about Olivia? The detective asked. Daniel looked down. I thought she ran. But now I'm not so sure. Then came the twist. Forensic analysis of the dirt under Jacob. S. fingernails the cousin found unconscious near the woods revealed fragments of notebook paper. Pages torn, ink smeared. A few words still visible. He didn't kill alone. The others knew. The Carson estate was no longer a sanctuary. It was a pressure cooker, and the heat was rising. With Michael and Daniel both in custody, the remaining family members turned on each other like dominoes, collapsing in slow motion. Allegations flew across dinner tables, once shared with laughter. You knew about this. You helped cover it up. You were there in '96, weren't you? Old tensions resurfaced. Long-forgotten grudges came back sharper, heavier, deadlier. Michael's sister, Barbara, accused their eldest brother of paying off investigators decades ago. He denied it. But someone remembered a large wire transfer made in 1997 to a now-deceased private detective. And then the matriarch spoke. 92 years old, half-blind, confined to a wheelchair. For years she had said nothing. But now her voice thin, shaky, cut through the chaos like a blade. "I warned you," she said. "I told them what he did, and they called me senile." Silence. "He was only 15, she continued. "With that girl, she never came home. And your father made it disappear." Gasps echoed. Someone whispered, 15? The timeline shifted. Michael hadn't started killing in adulthood. He started as a boy. Within hours, federal agents were on site. They seized old family records, searched the guest cabins. Drones flew over the surrounding 200 acres of private forest. In one shed, they found burned documents. One page half survived the fire, a faded letter with a police department header. It read, "We strongly advise sealing the file. A minor is involved. Public release may compromise family integrity." Signed by a retired sheriff, who was also married into the Carson family. At that moment, the truth became undeniable. This wasn't one man's crime. It was a family tradition rotten from the roots. As agents scoured the estate, one question remained. Where is Olivia Carson? Emma's body had been found. Michael was in custody. Daniel had confessed to helping cover it up. But Olivia, the one who started asking questions, the one who warned everyone, was still missing. Then came the break. Deep in the woods, a deputy stumbled upon a small clearing, a fire pit, the ashes still warm. Buried beneath were charred scraps of notebook pages, a silver necklace, and something else, a shoe. Size 6, Olivia's size. Nearby, wedged under a tree root, was a piece of cloth, torn, bloodied. It matched the dress she'd last been seen wearing. But there was no body, no sign of struggle, no tracks leading away, just the impression of knees in the dirt, like someone had been forced to kneel. The FBI brought in heat detection drones, search dogs, and volunteers. They found nothing, no bones, no clothing, no trace, and then another twist. In Emma's recovered phone, they found a deleted note, time-stamped just hours before her death. It read, "She knows. We were wrong to tell her. He's not the only one. MC is worse. MC Mark Carson, Olivia's older brother, the one who didn't attend the reunion, the one who was never interviewed, the one who, according to their mother, left the country months ago. Except he didn't." Security footage from a motel 12 miles away, dated the night Olivia vanished, shows a man, matching Mark's description, checking in, alone and carrying a shovel. The footage was undeniable. Mark Carson checked into room 14 at the Penaview Motel at 11:52 p.m. No reservation, no luggage, just a duffel bag and a shovel. He paid in cash, stayed exactly 6 hours, checked out at dawn and vanished. The room was scrubbed clean, bleach in the bathroom, no fingerprints. But one thing was left behind, a hand-drawn map, folded beneath the mattress. It showed the Carson estate, the woods, and a red X deep in an area marked no access. FBI agents followed the trail, through the trees, over a ridge. At the X they found disturbed soil, fresh roots cut clean. Another dig site, but once again no body. And just like that, the trail went cold. Mark Carson hasn't been seen since. His bank account's frozen, phone disconnected, and his passport? Still sitting in a drawer at his mother's house. Olivia remains missing. No ransom, no confession, no grave, just echoes in the forest, and a family that shattered the moment someone dared to ask the truth. The reunion is over, but the nightmare still lives in the trees. If Olivia's alive, she's hiding. If she's not, someone in that family knows where she rests. and why they've kept it buried for this long. Would you know if someone at your family reunion had blood on their hands? Would you trust the people who raised you if the evidence said otherwise? Tell us what you think happened to Olivia. Drop your theories in the comments. And if this story made your heart race, subscribe to Crime Vault, where the darkest truths are just one video away.